Hello, everyone. Erin, thanks so much for being here today. We have had conversations before where we have talked about imposter syndrome and that it can be tricky. It's not just this thing that we all experience, but sometimes it's a narrative that we create ourselves. And so would love to share a little bit about how you've learned to spot imposter syndrome and even better, what strategies you use to manage it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you, Carrie, for having me and asking me to contribute to this important conversation around a topic that I would say that a lot of us have struggled with, whether we are just starting in our jobs or, maybe we've been around the block a few times. I've learned to spot imposter syndrome in myself when I am starting to feel this overwhelming feeling of needing to prove myself. So if you know anything about the Enneagram, I am a 3, so achiever through and through. So you better to believe that I absolutely set too high of expectations for myself. Now, one of the biggest shifts for me, I feel like, is realizing that imposter syndrome isn't based on facts. It's this internal narrative that I have typically created, often without realizing it, that is often based on either fears or doubts that I have in my head. And when I catch myself going down that rabbit hole, I've learned to really pause for a second and ask myself, what is actually being expected of me here, and what would I tell someone else if they were in my shoes right now? If I wasn't holding anyone else to that impossible standard, then why should I hold myself to that standard too? But here's the thing, it's really not just about recognizing imposter syndrome. That's really only the first step. It's the real challenge of figuring out what to do next after you recognize that. And for me, it's been about challenging that voice when I see it start to show up. I have to stop and remind myself of what's true. And it's not easy. Some days are harder than others. But when I shift my focus from perfection to progress, it really becomes a little bit easier to lose that weight. And another thing I've learned is that to celebrate all wins, whether they're big or small, you have an opportunity to see the silver linings every day in every situation. I used to brush off the small wins like they didn't matter, like I had to immediately jump to what's next, and you don't always have to do that. I've learned that those small moments matter, and stopping to say, you did a good job, and even to yourself, is so important. Imposter syndrome is tough, and the truth is, especially if you're in the weeds of it, that no one can silence that doubt for you except for you, and you have to be your biggest advocate. You have to make that choice every single day and remind yourself that you were chosen to be in the position that you are for a reason, that someone saw your potential in what you do and trusted you with your role. And it's about standing up for yourself, even if it's to yourself, really, and saying, I worked hard and I earned this and I deserve to be here. And that's the voice you lean into. And honestly, in addition to that, just having such a supportive group of people around you to lead you through that. For example, my team at Enrollify, I'm going to call them out. Mallory Wilsey, Kevin McCormick, and Shelby Moklem. They are absolutely amazing, and they are there to remind me when that doubt creeps in to get out of that space, and they remind me of how awesome I am. So it's also important to surround yourself with people that genuinely care about you and want to see your success. So now for me, to close up, when imposter syndrome shows up, I remind myself that it's not about being perfect. It's really, at the end of the day, about showing up, learning, and growing, and, reminding myself I've already earned my place. I don't need to prove myself every minute of every day. And that doesn't mean I don't push myself, but I'm learning what's in my scope of what realistic expectations are, and letting go of that weight and trying to be perfect and getting away from that, I feel like has made me more confident. And not only that, but it's also made me so much more fulfilled in my career and getting to enjoy what I do every day. And I still have my moments, and I think we all do, but now I know how to face them, and I know that I'm not facing them alone.
I think one of the things that you said that's really important, especially as female leaders, is not downplaying those small moments. I think sometimes as females, we're more likely to just pause and honor the group and deflect that to everybody else. And I love how you said to capitalize on all those moments. So such great insights. Erin, thanks for your time. Make sure you check out all the videos as part of this playlist. And of course, more great content coming soon.
Thanks, Carrie.